Welcome back, everybody. It's 8 o'clock on the 2nd of August. Today would be a Saturday. Hello, Apolloni Art. Hello, Dragon Diffusion. Gordon's alive. So let's see, what have we got on the plate for tonight? The results of my experiment. So we've created some images, we've trained them, and then we've made them with WAN. So that's what we're going to look at first. Going to be workflows, going to be some information on how I trained it, which thing I used to train it. We got two different ways of training it for the API. They're quick, it works. This is image-based training for image generation with WAN 2.2, T2V, 14B, low noise. Anyway, welcome back, everybody. I am Drift Johnson. This is a Latent Space Live, and you're watching Scuffed Epoch. So yeah, welcome back. We're here every day from 8 UK time in the evening. Last time I printed off a bunch of stuff. We're going to be printing off a bunch more stuff, so that'll be nice. I've only actually got 3 pieces of paper left though. I need to buy some more. Don't forget, if you're watching live or if you're watching later, there's a join link for the Discord. Get involved, and you can share your work or any interesting links you find with us. Like I said, that's pretty much what all of us are there doing. I can't remember how many people are there now, but it's a considerable number. I think we're getting there. Okay. First up, DJZ nodes got an update. The new nodes which I created. So, well, the adjustment. So if you update your DJZ nodes with a git pull, I think if you do it with the Comfy Manager and you have nightly, it should work fine. But I haven't pushed to the registry. They're doing a bunch of stuff, so I'm waiting to see what they're doing. So I haven't pushed to the registry. But it's all here on the GitHub. And what essentially the biggest change is the update to the aspect size v2, because I've added a new option called WAN 22, which is a 1536 by 1536 base. And that will allow you to find safe aspect values for the model. Now I'm expecting there to be a bias towards like video dimensions, but it's not quite as simple as it turns out, because we're creating images, not videos. But that being said, let's put something on the screen that's interesting. There we go. We got an image here. So this is actually Flux Krea. Now, turns out Flux Krea can run in WAN 22 mode. So there's an interesting one for you. So now we've got native 1536 generation. So this is a 1792 by 1344. That would normally be a 2x upscale. Just to put that into perspective, if you wanted to do a 2x upscale on a normal Flux generation, you would, you'd have, like, you don't need to. If you got Flux Krea, you can just generate native at that size. So that's cool. And we got a whole bunch of images to look at, which I made earlier. All right. While we're talking, let's make another one. Oh. I'm doing an experimental thing where I'm trying to save the caption that was used to generate the thing, just so it's a more accurate train. I would like to save what's used to, and I'm running into issues regarding the file names, because obviously when Comfy saves an image, it has a number at the end, and we don't know what that number is, so we can't make a paired file. The way I got around it before was by supplying a file name. But then you have to have a list of files. Fun and games, guys. Fun and games. So this is work in progress. We can disable that. There we go. So what am I using right here? I'm using Cyber Society V66, which is trained on Flux. And we're using Flux Krea Dev Q8 with the T5 1.1 Q8 clip, normal VAE, aspect size, as I said, we're using the WAN 22 preset in 4:3, so you can get 1536. So it's basically upscaling without needing to upscale. It'll just do it. No, I don't know if it tiles in the model or what, but for whatever reason, it's looking good. It's got the style. Okay. So obviously we're sending the prompt from my Zenkai prompt Cyber Society V6. So you can get these models. They're all actually on Civitai. This is, I think, E9. Yeah, V66 E9, which should be the version that was published online. Hello, Kirk. Welcome to the show. Dragon says, Drift, I have a node that takes the image you make, changes its name, and then saves the text file and the image file in the target folder. I'll dig it out. Oh, cool. It's a node, is it? Yeah, I'd love to see that, because I could make a much better dataset builder. Because I'm thinking, as we generate the images, because right, before, you wouldn't want to make the same caption for a different image. So we didn't tend to do it, but if you have the prompt enhancer and you save the enhanced prompt, we have a list of base prompts that might get repeated many times, but they'll always have a different image with a slightly different enhancement. So actually, yeah, what we really need is literally like a printer. So I can just go, I want 100 images, and they all come with their captions as separate files which match file names. It just speeds up the whole process, because you can do a V0 with what was used to generate them. Yeah. But as you can see, my Cyber Society style got a bump. There's a little bit too much knickknacks there, but that's okay. We haven't done any tweaking. This is just take my prompt, yeah? Now, there is something worth mentioning, and that is the prompt enhancer I was talking about earlier. Obviously, we're using it, but just not in that workflow. We'll come back to this one in a minute. Where is it? Here? Yeah, that's the one we're using. No. Maybe? Yeah, I think I added it into... Wait. No, this is a completely different crazy workflow. Yeah, this was the sampler garden. And to be honest, we've still got advanced ones to do. But whatever, we're moving on. Gotta keep moving. Right, okay, here it is. This is the essence of the prompt enhancer, okay? We have the Olama connector with the LLM that we want to use. And we put the prompts from the Zenkai, for example. Like, if you don't know what the Zenkai is, because you're new here, then Zenkai is my prompt loading system. You have lists of prompts and files in the prompts folder in the custom node folder. Okay, I think I can actually just show you. Yeah, so here is the DJ Z nodes folder. Open it up. There's a bunch of prompts, and they're all on a separate line. Okay, so the Zenkai node system. That's not what I clicked on. Well, I got scammed. Zenkai. So, Zenkai essentially ties lines to a seed number. That's pretty much what it does. Random seed, random line. Huh? You can also add a prefix to the beginning or a suffix to the end, and some of them have special modes. V4 has a blacklist. So, for example, I don't want the word woman to come out in any of the randomized prompts. I can put that in there. Alright. I'm going to put man in there, actually. Let's go the other way. And then I just put that in here. Now, the default prompt that it comes with was written by, I think written by someone in the community. I don't want to know who, because I always misquote, so I'm sorry. Make yourself known. Or don't. Up to you. But this is a really nice prompt, which is why I gave it out, because even though I've got my own, this is really good. So it's sort of like, well, just this is fine. This is nice. You know what I mean? But what I would say is, I do have more which illustrate how you can even make your own quite quickly. So let's just cover that real quick, okay? Because we've done the DJ Z nodes update. We're going to be blazing through tonight. And Dragon, don't forget, I do want that node, because I think that's going to be really nice. Even if I just sort of fork it or something, I don't know. We'll see. So LLM based prompts is where I've had, we've been cataloging all of my system prompts forever, and there are a lot of them missing we need to add today as well, so I need to try and remember that. Pen. I get too many things to juggle if I'm not careful, right? LLM base prompts. It's going to happen as we go along. It's going to happen as the course of what we're doing. So I've got all these different agents here, okay, and some of them are, Hanyan video, but here's the WAN video prompt enhancer. Now, I don't know if we need to change it for the 14 billion parameter model, but we're going to try it with this and see. So I'm going to make an image version of this. So if I copy the raw file, and we'll just get a cloud open, please. And I'm going to say we have a system prompt which is tuned to generate optimized video prompts. Oh, wait a minute. Text prompts for video generation. Okay. It's too small. Right. For video generation, we have discovered it has the ability to generate images. Also, I bet it's not really it's just overlooked. Okay. So we can create an image focused version of this system prompt. There we go. So that's number one. Number one. Here we go. I don't like that it has a list here, because that means it's going to choose from that list. That list might be bigger, so we probably could do with doing a bit of research. If we have to wait for things tonight, we'll skip back to this and see if it's possible to update it. Analyze input. Okay. Oh yeah, that would be text. Okay, or images, because it does have vision. So you can do that as well. If you use Qwen2.5VL, you can actually use the Olama to push an image in, and then you have like a bit of an IP adapter function. So that's something else worth looking at as well. Blah, 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 blah. I like Polaris. I don't know if Polaris can see things, though. I don't think it's a multimodal model. Someone will have to correct me on that one. But yeah, so if I just take a copy of this, I'm going to just download it as well. If I take a copy of that, we go back to our comfy workflow now. I'm just going to replace the whole thing with my thing. Now, I hope it's not too... Oh, we'll test it, won't we? Right. So, let's see. If I just take a copy of this and go back to our... there, this is the workflow we're on at the moment. So, this is actually Flux Krea. Okay, so here I have right now, you might have thought, why is there so much space over there? It's because I knew I was going to be doing this. So now we're going to put that there. And as you can see, if I just transfer that to the output, don't need this no more. We'll go to Cyber Society. Yeah, that's the one that's just been created. Okay, and we've got man censored. Okay, so obviously the image input is there if you're using a model which has vision capabilities. Is it always going to be a huge split like that? Now we're going to go -ENH for enhanced. So the caption enhancer is now on. If you check the config file, you can see all of the blocks the VLM is. So Polaris is not turned on in preview. Oh, okay. So what? So it's got deactivated Qwen VLM built into Polaris. I didn't know about that. Well, so the preview mode can't use it, but it's in there. It's kind of silly. Alright, well, I hope that the full release comes out soon then, because it's my favourite LLM at the moment. Not for the small, you know, it's too big to run on a little computer. At speed, I mean. But for my main machine, that's the one I'm using, is Polaris 4B. Do you like it? Right, anyway, enough of that nonsense. So we've got our thing, we've got it all set up. It's currently on 4 to 3 wideways. So obviously it's going to do the prompt. Oh, hang on a minute. I'm using the wrong one. I should be using V6 because we're on Flux. We're not in WAN yet. I was getting ahead of myself. That would be the prompt list for the WAN model, which I haven't even shown you yet. So we'll get there. There we go. So one of the random prompts from Cyber Society V6, we did that last summer, I think. Or maybe we evolved it at the beginning of this year, I forget. Regardless, it goes in, it uses my new custom image enhancement agent for WAN. I think it can be improved though, we might do that. So then it's going to say, and now we have our first issue. The enhancer has stripped out my trigger word, yeah? So the easiest way to get that trigger word back is just get a concatenate string, which is part of Durfu. Durfu Comfy UI modded nodes. We use these all the time, so and then we're just going to put our trigger straight back in, okay? So obviously it is Cyber Society V6, so I believe it's just Cyber Society style. I think back then I just literally slammed the two. I was just training a combination of two classifiers slammed together, because it'll break them up anyway with the token system. Sci, sort, sci. I don't know how it'd break it up exactly, but I know it doesn't care. So yeah, Cyber Society style comma. Oh, no, we don't need to do the comma, because what we can do is we can make sure it's comma space. It is by default. So prepend. So then we'll append it with the result of. There we go, just like that. So now, whatever comes out of here will always have. See, we've got some problems. We don't want it to say stuff like that. I might need to like edit the prompt and say only give me the output or something. Do not use labels like. Shall we do it? Right, where is it? Output. Oh yeah, because it's it's included the fact that the reason it's mimicked the fact, you know what I mean? Every prompt line started with this. I think I can fix this by just putting some returns in. Yeah, that'll be funny. Hang on, let me just see if I can just optimize this with simple edit, because it's learned to keep that on the same line. I think that'll do it. Output as a single line paragraph. I think it's like no commentary or something, no feedback. I forgot there's a word for it. There's a golden word, I forget. Hey Zeus, welcome. Alright, so let's do another one. We'll have a look in a minute. This will come out before the image gets made. I just want to see if we fixed that little quirk. Yeah, we fixed it. There you go. Cyber Society style. Oh, but now it's in quotes all the time, look. So I could go through and get rid of the quotes in the example, and we can tune that. But so I think this is the result of the enhanced image. So it's benefited from a little bit more interesting details on the background. The guns are a bit weird though. Something weird's happened to the guns. The platform is there. Still got the clouds, a little bit weak, but it might just be the seed. The architecture's good. The armor's good. What are we using for Laura strength here? We're just using 1.0. I actually think that... Well, this is Flux, so I need to shush. I get confused sometimes as well. I've been doing a lot of research with the LoRa strength when we actually train this into WAN. So let's just take a quick look at that before we go on. So using Cyber Society v0, which you can download that LoRa, it's been out for a long time. And then using the prompt list, Cyber Society v0, I think I'm actually using 00 for this one, which was like a fuller train. I think the 0 was an experiment with fast training when that came out on Civet. Anyway, let me show you the images that I trained. So the captions aren't so important, all right? You can imagine what the captions are, but remember that I have captioned them by applying the word society with numbers in it with the word Cyber Samurai. So this LoRa that we go into WAN with is trained using two words as classifiers, Cyber Samurai. So no matter where that appears in a caption, it will put my trigger in front of it. Okay, it's a way to do style training. But let me just go back. So these are the images. And how big is that? That is 1344 by 1792. These images are all 2K because they were generated natively with Flux Krea. Okay, so we generate these images with Flux Krea from an old Flux LoRa with an old set of prompts. So basically, you go back to your best work from last summer, regenerate it, but regenerate it with the higher resolution. Remember how I said this isn't based on 1024 by 1024. If you look, we've got SD 512 by 512, SDXL 1024 by 1024, Cascade, which was 3072 by 3072. Didn't really catch on, but I left it in there. And then WAN 22, which is 1536 by 1536. All right. Now you can run it at 2048 by 2048, but it starts to go a bit weird, you know, with like strange things happening. At 1536, it seems to hold together, especially if you stick to those safe aspect ratios. Because what this is doing is it's taking the 1536 as a total, taking your requested aspect ratio and width and height, and you might prefer to use 32 for video models because they prefer 32 for the divisor. It's a common divisor. Basically, whatever the result, so if I said I want it to be 4:3, if one of them doesn't divide by 32, it's going to shift and find the nearest safe width and height, which is closest to what you asked for, but is divisible by 32. With image models, 64 actually tends to be optimal. It's all about the way it does the grids. Anyway, so here we go. That's looking beautiful, actually. I didn't think it would actually get the style of, because that's part of the styles set. I've never seen it do that before. Haha, he's starting to turn into a cathedral himself. Okay. So anyway, so going back to the actual model, right, for the data set, I've trained this. So these are, I mean, it's not the best, guys, okay? I should have really spent a bit more time pulling out the best examples because these conflict a lot, you know what I mean? Like, so it's a style train, not a character train. But then I did instead of the word style, I used the word Cyber Samurai. I guess I just wanted to get it working, yeah? So there's a lot of room for improvement, but it did learn it. It didn't learn the crazy wires and stuff as much as I would have liked. And you can get there, but you have to massively pump the model. So I'll show you what I mean in a minute. It learned the concept of the armor shapes and just the general aesthetic and design, but it didn't quite, and I'm talking about WAN 2.2 now, rather than, because obviously we can see here Flux knows it. We already trained it to Flux. That's ancient history. This is based on an image collection I published in 2022. So we're getting ready to do a new collection, and some of these images are taken from that set. All right, so I just grabbed a whole bunch of different ones. This one's really nice. Printed this one out last night. It looks great. So we trained this Now, on the show yesterday, when we were proving this works, we used foul. But last night, I used replicate. Mostly because there was more options, and I wanted to test atom weight bit against Prodigy, like I always do. When you're doing the amount of steps which I'm going to recommend, didn't make any difference. So just use default. You know what I mean? It trained just as well both ways. And it was actually more of a hassle to change. So I'd just be like, just use the defaults, it's fine. So we're going to have a look at that training right now, or the this thing here. So it's Ostris, Wan Laura Trainer, 2.114B. If you see the option, there should be a drop-down option list here. Give me a sec, let me refresh the page. Where's it gone? There was a button here that allowed you to choose which model you were training. Am I on the right page? Mushroom Cyber Society, Ostris, Wan Laura Trainer. Maybe, what? That's weird. So there used to be there was a drop down list there yesterday. It's freaking me out, man. Okay, so let's zoom in on it anyway. So obviously, if you wanted to come in here and make yourself a little API UI tool with an LLM, you can grab the code for the trainer here, and then you just need a replicate key to go ahead and make your UI. If you just want to use this to train straight away, you can just use the form. So obviously the first thing you're going to have to do is create a new model, right? So create a new model, and we're going to say, I'm going to call this one Cyber Society V0C-demo. I would recommend all lowercase because there are some restrictions on what you can call the thing. And then say private. Little tip here, if you create this in advance by using dashboard model add and do it all in advance, you can just choose it by typing in its name here. Now, why would you want to do that? Let's just do a little side ramp here and show you why you want to do that, because it's actually pretty important. So if I say, let's create a test model, okay, leave it on private because we aren't ready to show the world yet, and then it says hardware CPU by default. Now it does tempt you, do you want to do an image model training, but you might not be, and it's going to set up for a lot of other stuff. So just do the drop down, and you can see here you can pick your chosen GPU. Now normally it's going to use A100 by default, as far as I can tell. But if you want to use different GPU, option is right here. So obviously I could set up this instance to use H100. Now, some of the training scripts are going to pick for you. And so, you know, at that point you don't have control. But this is how I set it up when I'm doing the API, not the form. If I'm doing the API and I want to control what it's going to be, you can use an API to create the model and select. But we're going to go into the weeds if we're not careful. So input images, that would be your data set. So a zip containing images in this case, and you know, your caption files as text files, matching file names, you know the jazz. Okay, trigger word. Okay, we're going to put that in. So what is this? We're doing a cyber society, aren't we? So all right, let's go ahead and do that, shall we? Come on. So here we have my captioned cyber samurai thing. Open that up. Oh, do you know what? Why don't we just do a quick real world whatchamacallit quickly, yeah? Have I got a thing here? Yeah, I got a thing here. Right. Give me a sec. So if I go into tools and cyber society, Laura, and that should be the data set. Yeah, there you go. That's the data set. It's going to ask me where do you want me to save the temporary changes. So let's just say temp 9 there. Edit. Right, I've got permission to edit. So what I want to do right now is I want to make a small change to this. I want to actually train the style classifier, and then this has a point to it. All right, because right here I'm doing society cyber samurai standing, so it might not be taking this, or I'm pretty sure it does do cyber samurai. I'm pretty sure it does, but it's a bit too much. It's always a cyber samurai. Okay, so I want to go a little bit further here. How about style? I just want to show you how I'd make that quick edit. So obviously I'm going to do a search for society. Okay. And I want to replace it with society. I'm an idiot. I pressed the wrong one. I pressed the wrong one. Okay, let's... Oh, okay, start again. Copy that. Somehow I copied the other thing. Okay, style. Yeah. Search. It finds all of the occurrences across. There's 95 occurrences across the 50 files. So replace them all. Yes. Save. Close. Save. Done. Alright, so if I now go to that folder, wait a minute, I've got it in VS Code. Here it is. So let's open that up. So I've just changed this. So actually, this is now C, which uses the style classifier. Okay, so let's just reveal that, zip it up, double check I didn't just do the wrong thing. Society style, yep, I'm happy. Kill that. Probably didn't need to close that, but I've got a bit of habit. I need to have a habit of closing things. That would get rid of the brand society. I don't think so. It's still there. Society's still there, but now it's society style Cyber Samurai. So I'm training. I want to train style rather than Cyber Samurai, which is a little bit of a difference, but I'll explain. It'll make sense. So it's the exact same data set, exact same captions, but we've we've engineered the context of this data set to now train the style classifier rather than the Cyber Samurai classifier, but we are still using that in the context. So it's just a reframing. Let's not go on trainer. Right. So now we will use the new one, C, and I'm going to use S0C13TY as my trigger. I just want to show you this. Obviously we don't need auto caption. I've already captioned. That does mean you can just bring images. You don't need captions. You just need a zip of images. You can use the auto captioner. They've interestingly switched from Quen 25VL to Lava 1513 billion. So that's now on my list. You know. 1.513b. I never tried that exact one. I think the one I had way less parameters. Okay. Now, steps. Steps. Everyone always wants to know about steps. Now, I did actually change the learning rate. Ah, that's interesting. I think I changed... Didn't I change the learning rate? Or did I leave it alone? Oh, man, that is deadly. I've just realised that I can't remember which one I did. The default is 1, but I think it should be 2 or 3 depending on what you're doing. Let's leave it at 1 for now. All right, we'll leave it at 1 for now because I want to. The thing I've worked out is an easier formula for steps. So I'll admit that at the moment I'm still doing lots of training runs to try and figure out what the best config is, just like always. But it's different because we're trying to train a video model for images. And so you want the LoRa to be as good as it can be. Yeah. So anyway, I recommend just doing times 10. So if you've got 30 images, 300 steps is probably enough. And that, I know it sounds like, what? That's hardly anything. But hey man, like I said, I might get back to you and say it's double. Yeah. So for example, with this particular data set, we have, not that one. For this particular data set, we have 102 images now, or rather 102 files in this folder. One of them is a metadata and one of them is a readme. So that means there's 100, which means there's 50 images. Is this 1.2.2 or Krea training? This is one. Big one. And it's not 2.2, it's 2.1. 2.114b. 2.114b, because those LoRa's work with 2.2, so it's fine. We've tested this yesterday. We already tested this yesterday. The only thing is, they didn't give you many parameters with FAL. Okay? It was, and also, sometimes it had trouble uploading big data sets. So if you wanted to do more than like 10 images, it might have failed. So I went and looked for an alternative, and I found this. So this is going to run on an NVIDIA H100 by default. So as I said, you make your model, you put your dataset, you put your trigger, you use the auto caption if you want, you can use prefix and suffix if you want, and then we come to the steps. Now remember, there were 50 images, so I would say 500. 2.2 trains faster, yeah, that's great, but I need to provide people with an API point. Can you link, have you got an API? I'm not being facetious. I'm honestly, have you got a link? If you've got a link for a service like a Replicate or a FAL or some other service, which is like this, that anybody can use, because think about it, if you're an artist and you just want to train, I've got images, I just want to train. If it's local WSL, there's a load of technical hurdles there, because you need to have GPU and you need to have technical knowledge. I always start off with the most easy, quickest route for money. You see what I mean? And to be honest, it's about $4. It's not an expensive deal. It's like a cup of Costa, or it's a Starbucks. Well, I never thought it would be the case that we'd be able to train really cool image and video models for the cost of a cup of coffee. But you might say that that's an overpriced cup of coffee, and you'd be right. But yeah, getting back to the subject, right? So I got 50 images times 10. That's 500 steps. Okay? Now, because remember, we're not training video, we're training images right now. And I found that it was either 500 or 1,000. Okay, it's like, so double. So it's like times 10 or times 20. I think the sweet spot's somewhere in between, because if you do overtrain, obviously that's got its own drawbacks. But for this one, we're going to do times 10. I think. No, wait. Last time I did 640 steps, but I had a slightly different image count somehow. So maybe we'll use, how many, I know, right. The last time I trained this, I used 640 steps. I thought there were 32 images last night. I was tired. Okay. So 640, I'm going to train it for the same number. Okay, just for science. I need to not change anything else. But I'm trying to explain like the reasoning behind why I'm choosing the numbers I'm choosing. So if you come in here with a different set of variables, you know exactly what to do. All right. Yeah, you don't even need an operating system for this. You just need images. You could do it on your phone, which is kind of why I like it, because then I can use my GPU for the important stuff. But yeah, 640. Learning rate, leave it default. LoRa rank, leave it default. 16, it'll be half the size. 64, it'll be double the size. But it might have a bit more detail, but it might just obsess over stuff you're not even training. So 16 is safest. 32 is supposedly more high quality, but often you can't tell the difference. 64, like every time you go up, yeah. And it will show you. You don't need to know the numbers. Look. Oh, wait. No, you do need to know the numbers. Okay. We're going to leave it on 32 because I'm not changing that. The thing that we're changing for this experiment is the captions. So everything else has to be identical. Otherwise, it's not a safe test. Yeah? So I've already trained this LoRa multiple times. And what I've learned so far is you don't really need to mess around from this point. But if you want to, let's look at that. Advanced. Now I leave batch size as 1 because whenever I've tested 2, 4 and higher, it actually makes the learning worse. Now there's a reason for that. You're supposed to increase the learning rate accordingly. You're supposed to scale learning rate with batch size. So higher batch size, higher learning rate, right? And everything's set up for batch 1. And it's not like double. It's not a linear relationship. So unless you want to run like, you know, a big grid of the same thing and just changing the only the learning rate, only the back, you have to do like a grid. And anyway, I'm not going to get into the weeds on it, but leave it at 1 because it will have an impact unless you know what you're doing, and then don't forget to increase the learning rate. Because like I said, say for example, I put this to 5. Does that mean I can double it? Or does that mean I can do it? I can do 10 now. Obviously you'd need the hardware for it, but the hardware does exist. So I would just leave it at 1, leave the defaults. Like 2 is also going to learn hard. It's going to learn more because you increase the learning rate. It's very precise. Anyway, let's keep going. So resolution. Now this is one which I've not seen before. And there is an experiment I'm going to be doing with retrains on just changing this value. Because they say 632 corresponds to 480p resolution. So that means that the LoRa's I'm training for image generation might be trained as though they're 480p video, which isn't good. Because obviously I'm going to be giving it really high quality 2K images to train on, okay? So this is what oh wow, 1536 by 1530, you know what I mean. So 632, so I said, hey, cloud. Right, mate. No. Oh yeah, this came out. It's in the inside line. What's inside your JSON? So drag a workflow in and find out that there's like prompts from 3 years ago that are baked in there somehow. Anyway, let's get to the thing we're talking about right now, which is the aspect. I think it was part of, did I do it in there? Aspect ratio? Image to metadata? No, that doesn't look right. Refresh. There we go, I knew it. Image generation prompt enhancement. Video resolution proportional calculation. Here we go. So I said, if 630 is 480p, what, question mark, is 720p? So this is a mathematical puzzle I've given him, okay? And then using his combined knowledge, he said 630 divided by 480 is 720, is solving. So 945. This is what his math is. Probably should run this through Polaris just to double check. Hang on. This is really funny. It's like whenever you get an AI answer, it's like the open source uncensored thing slides in. Slides in the DMs. You what, mate? Let's have a look. Let's see what Polaris reckons. Polaris. Where are you, mate? There he is. Let's see what he reckons. 945. He's had the same answer. Correct answer, 945. What about... And then what about 1080p? So this is basically determining what the values are, right? Because they're writing it in a... They're writing it in a specific way, so we have to try and match what that is. It's not like a real system. You know, it's not like a real thing. So here we go. So the actual answer is 1417.5. But you can't use a half number. Yeah. So he said, I'm not sure what the 1088 is about. Why are you saying 1088? It's 1080. Yeah. And I said, because it has to be divisible by 32. And he's like, oh, codec friendly dimensions. Okay. So 1428 is codec safe 1080p. So, you know, summarizing, I don't need to do the rest. They agree. So yeah, but yeah, it's interesting. You know, you get an answer from your big paid LLM, and then you like slide in with the free one. Like, check his answers. It's a nice little ability, which is getting better and better all the time. For most tasks, they're actually just as good now, guys. It's becoming a case of how quick do you want it? Pay money. But the actual result quality it's getting close, like really close. So anyway, so 1428 if I want to train 1080p. So what is it? Was it 945 was the other one, wasn't it? 945. So options 630, 945, and then 1428. But this is untested. I've never had to specify this in a trainer before. Yeah. But I think these are the values I'm going to try, because obviously I'm testing with 630 because I don't want to change anything, you know, so I know that the change I'm seeing is the result of the config change I made. Yeah. But yeah, essentially it just means there's going to be 3 versions of this LoRa that compare only that. So they will be exactly the same config, but then we'll change this, and then we'll compare the difference. If it doesn't make any bloody difference, maybe you will only see this advantage in video. I don't know, because there's a lot of unanswered variables and unknowns. So all we can do is do the testing and then document the result. And, you know, I draw my conclusion after that part is done. You know, speculation is fun, but ultimately we have got no clue, mate. And as it keeps happening, turns out the people that made the model don't really know what it can do either. So it's always the case that there's undocumented abilities in these models, and they have to be discovered by some guy with a funny idea. Yeah. So just play around and see what you can do with it. But yeah, anyway, like I said, so these are those values. I just wanted to quickly, because look, it's like, what the hell is 632? It's actually 632, not 630. We'll come back to that. That just threw a whole cannonball in my whole theory, that did. But anyway, the default is 632. It would be nice if the author had given us, you know, like a bit more information about what the other values were. But it's fine. We're going to leave it at that for now. Caption dropout rate, leave it alone. Optimizer, add and weight bit. It does have Prodigy, and I did test it, and it didn't make any difference. So I'm just going to leave it on add and weight bit. It might be that I need a much bigger data set to see the difference. It might be that I needed to train longer. Who knows? It shouldn't matter. So, cache latents to disk, because we do have 50 images. They're all 2K. And this is all to do with weights and biases, which is all optional. You don't need to mess with any of that stuff. So really, the only thing I did was activate cache latents to disk. And as he says here, if you hit out of memory errors and you have a lot of input images, that's why. All right, so you can cache the latents, and that will prevent that from causing you problems. But really, aside from that one thing, like if you've only got 10 images, you don't need to do that. So little image training projects, you don't need to even come into the advanced stuff. All right, and so like I said, if you've got 10 images, train it for 100 steps, 100 or 200. It's up to you. You're going to train it multiple times, so don't ever think it's going to be a one-trip mission. It's always going to be multiple iterative retrains, because, oh, there was an error in that one caption. Oh, that one image is too powerful. You know, this sort of stuff. Oh, maybe we'll see if it can go for... What happens if I train it for 1280, which is double what it's at right now? You know, and then when it's bad, you sort of come halfway back. And then when that's bad, you go halfway back to here again. And then that's how you fine-tune the perfect step count, if you will. Okay? But just remember that whatever your image count is, you know, there's no repeats. So that means that it's literally looking at the image and moving on. So when you've only got 10 images, one epoch is 10 steps. Okay? So 100 steps is actually 10 epochs. So if you're a 20 epoch person, I know everyone's got their own favored recipe. I'm giving you kind of like a conversion plan, you know what I mean? So you can go from what you know to what this is, and it's just a little bit easier actually. You know, the math is a bit easier actually. 30 images, 300 steps. That's where I would start off. If it looks undertrained, double it to 600 steps, because that's the difference between 10 epochs and 20 epochs. All right. Okay. All right. So that's it. That's all we need to do. So I'm going to leave that at 640. So the only thing that we're really doing, this is the exact same training config as what I used for the last run on V0B. All right. Now, they all have their own documentation and notes, but all you need to do is write down what C means, what B needs, or, you know, just whatever system you use, just keep notes of what you're doing. So what we're doing here is we are testing training style, rather than Cyber Samurai as a classifier. That's what we're actually doing. Okay. Images are the same, prompts are the same, configs the same. So that's why I thought I'd use this opportunity to just run you through what the config I'm actually using is. And then we can just skip the wait. Obviously, we won't be able to test the thing I just did. Maybe we'll come back to it. But the point is, this is how we get to where we're going to be, which is here. Welcome. Is it coffee time yet? 10 more minutes. I should have dragged it out a bit, but I'm not like that. So let's break down what this is before we actually use it. So, first of all, we have the back end, which contains the diffusion model, the sage attention if you use it, the clip, and the VAE. We're going to be using WAN 2.2 T2V low noise, 14B FP8 scaled, with UMT 5 XXL FP8 E4 M3F. It doesn't matter, because you might use GJUF, you might use Quants, Q4Ms and whatnot. It's fine, okay? Q8 has no discernible difference from FP8 in terms of quality, although I think it might be a bit slower. It depends on your system. It really depends on so many things. We're going to be using Polaris 4B Preview. We're going to be putting the captions from the trained model into Polaris, as I was just talking about, and then we're putting the trigger that was trained, Society, in front of the result. So we're guaranteeing that what the result of the image is, the result of the caption is going to be applied in generation. Okay. All right. So let's take a look here. So here's our, that's the, see, same thing I've already explained. It's all coming together, I hope. Top row, no LoRa. Okay. Still got LightX, still got Fusion X, but no LoRa that we're training on. So this represents the control. Yeah? This is the image which, you know, this is what the model would make if we hadn't trained a LoRa. It's pretty good. Actually, sometimes better than what I'm training. But I am trying to train something specific. So for this one, 0.5 strength. So there is my Cyber Society V0B. Okay, 0.5, right? We've already talked about this actual config. We've already talked about the, you know, how all of these settings are interplaying. Obviously, we've got a 1536 based resolution. We've got 5. That was a reduction from, I think, the default of 11. And then, so if you're wondering, that there is 0.75 LoRa strength. And then the next one down is 1.0 LoRa strength. So that gives us a nice grid of 4 images, with the top left being no LoRa, and then the LoRa strength increasing over the remaining 3 images. So that means we can, at a glance, see what the actual influence of turning that up is. And here we have it. Okay. So you can see that as we increase the LoRa, the trained or the learned styling gets more and more, you know, gets stronger and stronger. Okay. Now these generations are 1248 by 1664 native no upscaling, and we are generating these images with the video model now. All right. I just need to, it's kind of hard to distinguish, you know, but anyway. So you might be wondering, well, why have I got 3 sets of these? And the reason was to analyze the agent, the prompt enhancement agent. So at the top, we have the default that I gave out with the module that was written by someone in the community here, or from wherever they got it, you know, the default image prompt for Olama with any, you know. So that's what this whole thing is. This one here is our current community prompt enhancer. All right, so it's like a universal prompt enhancer, you could say. Yeah, right. Now, down the bottom, wait, no. Over here, we have no prompt enhancer. So this is just using the prompt that would have come out of my random system, you know, so the you know, the caption, right, that was used to train the LoRa. So this is what you would have got if you just didn't enhance and you just prompted with the image. You know what I mean? Sorry, you just prompted with the no enhancement. I'm not trying to not make it complicated. So you can see obviously when it's at 0.5, you still have a really good blend with the base weights, which does two things. It reduces some of the unique elements of your style, yeah, but it uses strong concepts which it understands in their place, which generally will lead to a sharper and more defined design. All right. Now at 0.75, it's starting to bring in more of the elements. All right. And I'd say this is like the halfway point, 0.75. So at this point, you're still getting that good crisp definition, but a lot more of the crazy style that was learned is now coming in. And then at 1.0 and higher, it just sort of starts going a bit crazy, you know, like you would expect. You start to get much more detail, but usually at the expense of, you know, for example, these fingers are starting to turn into just sort of cables, whereas here it was holding a sword. You know, obviously it's up to you how far you want to go with it. I actually think that this is truer to the target, and it's still not quite there. Still too clean. But the point is, you've changed your style in. It worked. Do you know what I mean? It did work. This is now a cyber society style cyber samurai. And this is why I'm retraining it, because this is only making cyber samurais now. You know what I mean? So what I want to do is turn it into a style model that was trained on cyber samurai, but then we can say style clown and see what it comes out with, or whatever it is you want to generate. Okay, so obviously, what's the third one then? Well, the third one is that. It's actually the video one, not the one that we just wrote, because I obviously just wrote that with you guys. But yeah, I would want to put my updated thing in here now, actually. Where the hell is that? It's probably... Yeah, it's going to be... Did I put it into this? Yeah, I did. I put it into this. So if I just take a copy of that real quick and slide it back down to here. Okay, let's just unload everything real quick, because this one will take a while. But yeah, this one was using the video prompt optimizer that we've had up for WAN for ages. So we used this to optimize video prompts for WAN, but it was really written in 1.3 era, so it's probably not the best now. But you can see actually it is bringing out different design details. So this is all same seed as well, by the way. So whatever change you're seeing is a result of the prompt and nothing else. Should probably put them all together, right? So I'll put the default in the middle, the community enhancer on the left, and then mine on the right. But obviously that was for video, not images, so I expect that's going to improve in just a second. Can I name this? No, enhance. You can't. Oh wait, no, you can read it, and I've spelt it wrong. Again. No enhance, no enhance. Third try. I believe in myself. I can do it. Okay, and then this one is new enhancer, and then this one would be old or current standard. It's kind of hard to say that because it might actually be better than mine. I don't know that yet. We're trying to find out. But certainly you can put your own custom prompt in there. So if you've already got one for WAN, or you have got a good image-based one, you know, that's what we're looking at. So let's just have a look at this, get a nice spread up on the screen there. Maybe a little bit smaller. There we go. So let's see. So the one in the middle is what you would get if you just ran my, you know, So that's your control. The one in the middle is the control. One on the left is the current community prompt enhancer, and the one on the right was based on my old WAN 1.3 prompt enhancer. It's interesting how they're picking out different things. You know what I mean? They're all the same image, but do you know what this is? You just unlocked master level spot the difference. Congratulations. Welcome to the club, you know? It's quite funny. So in the middle, the chest plate kind of almost looks... I don't know, the chest plate is... Yeah, actually, you can actually really see the big difference. Even in like the vanilla, you know, where it's not loading the LoRa at all, it's a huge difference between the standard ones. So you can see the difference that the prompt has made. Like, to be fair, the one over on the right, it's retained the multicolor backgrounds better. The one on the left is still trying to do city backgrounds in the default. You can see like the sky. And then the one on the left has made like an urban environment for some reason, which we didn't ask for and wasn't trained. It's trained completely on color gradients only. All of them were different color gradient backgrounds. But look, normally you would want stuff like that, so I'm not going against it. These are just different styles of prompt enhancement, and that's quite interesting. Another thing as well is the one on the left seems to have retained the fact that she's a woman, whereas my prompt enhancer just turned her into a dude immediately. Nah. It's kind of funny. But then again, I don't think there's actually a sword. So, in a way, I'd have to actually look at the prompt. I'm making an assumption then. I haven't seen the prompt. But currently it is building a whole bunch of new grids. We can't see it, but that's what it's doing. So it's working away, doing 12 new image generations with the video model. So let's just have a quick look at that in case you've never seen that before. If we just take a look at one of them, obviously we have our LoRa loader. We're using Litex2V on one. We're using your custom LoRa on one. We're using T2V14B Fusion X on 0.4. We're using 1248 by 1664. We've reduced the nag scale to 5. And we're using 12 steps, 1 CFG, EULA, beta, 1 denoise, single stage. And in case you missed it, because you've just joined or whatever, the model backend is any 2.2 T2V low noise 14B variant. Okay, on its own, you don't need the high noise for this. And you can use GGUF, Q8, and it doesn't matter. One thing to note is with 2.2, you're using the 2.1 VAE with the 14 billion parameter version. Nice and confusing. How is it doing? It looks like it's creating all new stuff. So is it like half done it? Or it hasn't even done one of them yet. Hasn't even done one of them yet. Right. We're going to give it a little bit of time to do some work. Okay. And in the meantime, it is coffee time. So anyway, I just spent an hour explaining things from image training, Flux LoRa compatibility with Krea, training video models with images to make images with the video model. You can also make video too, guys. I don't want to spoil the fun. but they're surprisingly good images that don't even need upscaling. Yeah. So we did that. That's done. We updated Zenkai. The new nodes are out. Aspect size updated. Okay. What else is there? What else is there? We're looking at these results, obviously. And then we get to start doing something new. Something new with lots of problems that I don't even know what they're going to be. And I'm going to call the project History as a code name. Man, if you thought this wasn't even doing anything, you could be, you know. See what I mean? Like the detail is actually very good. Like it's sharp as hell. Like I'm zooming in a lot here. It makes me wonder. I don't know. There's going to be loads of ways this is going to get used. Right. We are back. So we spent. Oh. Wrong one. So anyway, we spent the first part of the show talking about updates to the Zenkai nodes, the aspect size. Hopefully that's going to resolve if people can't use certain things. I would say that there is a video node right now which is like kind of broken because I'm trying to fix the sound output and I didn't have time to finish it. So there's a chance that that one got uploaded. So let me know if that problem continues. Also, we've been testing this whole how good is WAN at learning images, because if it is good, then obviously that's another tool in your bag, right? So what I'm thinking is this is looking actually pretty good. Yeah. I've taken you through the process. It's basically take your old model and retrain it on WAN. The foul API, not foul, yeah, replicate API works great. And if you've got your local GPU, it's Ostrus, guys. You know, like this is one of the things I like about this. Like it's the same. You know, if you use Ostrus on local, it's the same. You know, same config, or it should be the same config. Are we finished? Damn, it took 7 minutes. Well, I guess it is an image model, isn't it? It's not video, right? There would be a different trainer for training video clips if you were wondering about that, but we're really talking about image generation today. So that is 293 megabytes at rank 32. So expect 600 megabyte LoRa's at 64 and 1.2 gigabyte LoRa's at 128. You see why it's silly? 150 at rank 16, 75. You know, it's literally halving and doubling. Just extract this bad boy, and this would be VOC. So I can't even remember what I called this thing now. I think it was like I think I called it like, no, it'll be cyber and then capitals 0 C1 BTY. This one is actually style, but I'm going to say V0C is all I really need to say. So I will go copy. I need my models, please. Let's get it in there. Go right, so we got another one to test as well. I'm tempted to stop this so that I can actually just do one. Oh, it looks like it finished. Okay, it finished. So I appreciate you probably can't tell the difference. It does look like they do look very similar, but that's what happens when you're doing this kind of project. I mean, I'm biased, but I think that my prompt enhancer is a little bit... Because there's no goggles, right? We've got glowing eyes. Turn into skiing goggles. But I guess those are actually in... There are some in the dataset like that. So and then maybe he actually lost the goggles. So his eyes are glowing. Alright, well, anyway. Do I have a thing here? 122B22V? What's this? No. That's video. That's video. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to test it with the different LoRa. Ah, I know how to do it. Oh, that's going to be a ball ache. It's going to be an absolute ball ache. Oh wait, no it won't. I think I've figured it out. So let's just change this to V0C. Oh, forgot to push R. Or. So I want to wrap this up so we can move on to the next section. Okay. Which should be a bit of fun. We haven't done, this will be a new section as well. So, don't get too excited though. It's not semantic bingo yet. But I probably said too much. So, okay. Oh. Not bad though. I do like the detail. It's very crisp. You know, like the edges. It's got really good sharpness on everything. Which is super cool. You have pushed the paired saver to your node pack. Alright, I'll have to give me a link to your node pack then. Fernicar says he's not sold on the vanilla prompt for prompt enhancer as there are other details that the custom prompt does. Yeah, this is why... See, I think it's good if you just want to enhance an image prompt. But if you're working with, like, you know, if you have a project which is, like, tight... Because I would say this is a bit too strong. See what I mean? It's a bit too strong. I like it. I like the clutter. Yeah? But this is probably a bit too strong. So we back it off to 0.75. And then look, it's doing the face mask. And the sword actually is gripped right. Because remember, my examples, stuff like sword grip and that, isn't good. Some of them don't even have fully formed arms. You know? Because it's like heavy on the style, not on the coherency. So this is actually giving you... kind of like a resolution in between. But anyway, enough of all that. Right, do you know what? To make this sort of snappy, I'm going to get rid of the default one. So then we only have the two. Like that. And then I'll bring those back up here. Oh, and then, hang on, we need to check something. So, one of these is gone forever. It should be that one. So that should be alright, okay. Bounce it back to the controls again. Okay. Oh, and that's right. I just need to set the LoRa to V0C. There it is. Right, and then we can do a clock copy, clip, space. I wish you could do bulk copy paste. You know, like select a whole bunch of them and do paste to them all. But it's only a couple of clicks. We've had to do far more than that. There we go. Do it. Yep, it did it. Now for the prompt, because all I did was add a word to the training, what I'm going to do is the same thing, but I'm not going to bother with changing all of this. I'll just do it here. Yeah, so I just said Cyber Society style. Should give it a bit more freedom over what it's able to make. It'll still make Cyber Society Samurais because that's pretty much that's all it has. But I can show you a really simple way to change that behavior. So So I've got you the regulars will know what I'm about to say. So prompt swap, yeah? So if I just shift click to the back, so then we've just put prompt swap in between the original and the detailer. So obviously we know that this is all about cyber samurais, yeah? It's all about cyber samurais. So I'll copy that. And I will put it in there. That's what it's going to pick up. Now, if you have two words being broken up like that, you can put them in quotes, and then you can do comma separation, and it's like an array, so it has to match. So whatever I want Cyber Samurai to be swapped in with, I type in the bottom. So I'm going to say Pizza Chef. Okay. So whenever it sees Cyber Samurai, not just cyber, not just samurai, but both, it's going to do Pizza Chef, and I should probably put them in quotes as well, if I'm being smart. Alright, so now what's going to happen is, it's going to load my Cyber Samurai, it's going to put it in there, blah, 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 and then we should be able to apply style to a chef. Let's see what the caption actually does. Because it's not looking at the image, it's just processing my caption. So, photorealistic digital concept art of an imposing society. There's my trigger. Oh, wait, where's the style? Oh, wait, it's all right. I put it at the top. Society Pizza Chef. In a dynamic low-angle perspective, the figure is clad in sleek metallic armor, interwoven with glowing... See, this is going to be okay. All I did was search replace the word. I don't know why the Pizza Chef has a sharp futuristic sword, but maybe this is the Bleach universe. So, where are we? Have we made an image yet? Hey, hey, hey! Wait, what? Pizza Chef did something interesting. I mean, look, my style is pretty well trained by the looks of it. But, so Laura off. This is what we get from the model when we prompt cybernetic Pizza Chef holding a big sword, etc. Okay. Okay, so let's see, what is the Laura going to do? You'd expect it to be something resembling this. Somewhere in between the last image that we just looked at and this one. So it might have a robot head. Yeah, there we go. So the style, it learned the shoulder pad design, it learned the wires and the you know, the cybernetical parts. Okay, look, I know it's not a Pizza Chef, okay? It's not a Pizza Chef. But we're slowly turning the style up. Could probably... I can't put attention on it as well. It's too much cheese. What's interesting, though, is we're turning the Laura strength up. Yeah. So there you go, my Cyber Society style Pizza Chef. Remember, I didn't train a single example of a chef. Hey man, it is more my style. Slightly, ever so slightly. I like what it did with the belly stuff. The belly wiring is nice. The creases in the clothing is correct. I mean, you could say, oh, what are you talking about? This creasing is not the same as this creasing. Cyber Society has like a sort of plasticky silk look to it. It's one of the things that it learned, apart from the color gradients, excessive wiring and all that. You can tell it's a Pizza Chef by the Cyclops eye in the utility belt. Dead giveaway. That's right, Jared. It's pretty good for 7 minutes of training from heavily styled pics. Yeah, this is, like I said, it's early days. We don't know what the best thing is. And in fact, you know what? Do you remember one thing about this? This chest plate has a very specific shape to it. If I go to the ground truth and show you the chest plates, there's the chest plates. They're not as detailed, but there's like a theme as you go through a lot of the images where this sort of chest plate, and it's interpreted the average of all of these chest plates, and this is the These are the images that we use to train the first, well, the WAN, yeah, the one that we're looking at now. Okay, let's see, there you go, there's another one. You can see how it's kind of averaged everything, right? Oh, there you go, single eye. So it's kind of like, all right, oh, turn it up, pump the stock, guys. We're getting a little bit more Japanese and a little bit more, you know, like the influences are a little bit more each time. That's sick. This wiring is so cool. And look at all of the, like, Gundam, all the Gundam markings, the amount of marker pen. This is, man, this is getting really good. So the style is actually better than the character model that I had. Okay, and then what's this over here? So this is the original captions. Okay, this is original caption, no enhancer. So now let's take a look at what happens with the prompt enhanced version. So prompt enhanced version with a little bit of LoRa. Oh no, bad seed. But you can still see it's learned certain aspects. It's learned the helmet shape better this time, and it's learned the armor separation with more detail this time, and it's got the chest plate shape. Look, you see how there's like little bits and pieces which you can clearly identify that it either has or has not learned. And look, it's changed these armor plates into like CPU sections, you know, like you've got a phone, a Raspberry Pi, and a battery charger. Got the utility belt, and this is still at 0.5, so it's going to get better. Oh boy, it's got the eye that moves from left to right. Hell yeah. The sword is still screwed up, but it's not a big deal, because a lot of the time we might rem-BG the character and then clean it up a bit. So I'm not too bothered about that stuff. Or you just do a different seed. Look at that. It's not as heavily on. It's not as heavy. It's not as heavy. I would say it's kind of it's tough, isn't it? It's learned two different things, man. See, this is what you get from just prompt. No, wait. I'll get confused myself. This is my original, right? This is my original prompts that's done this. My original prompts that trained the model as well. Whereas over this side, we're doing enhancings. But there's a reason for that, right? Because you can enhance a base prompt infinite times. Whereas the prompt I have can only be used with more seeds, if you see what I mean. Like, yeah, sure, you've got infinite. You could say, oh, but you've got infinite seeds. And I'm like, yeah, but you've got infinity times infinity over here. You know, I could be actually manually here, let's just build this out a bit here. I could be actually editing this by hand, which I haven't done, to be fair. I could give it actual examples, not ones it just imagined, you know, stuff like that. So I haven't really done the full job on making a proper optimized WAN image thing. The way I would do it, though, just if you had nothing, if you had absolutely nothing, the way I would do it is I would brute force 1,000 images from as many of my best prompt lists as I can, and then I'd take the best images, load them back into Comfy, find out what those prompts actually were, and then I would create a list of those prompts, which are now my golden list. And that is all the prompts which I've tested myself, and I know that they make good, accurate, whatever, right? And then you train your prompt generation agent on those. You say follow the cadence and structure without substance, yeah, and then he'll turn into just a mad template engine. It works every time. The hard part is getting those prompts in the first place. Sometimes authors will release a pack of prompts or a repo of test prompts or something, and that is going to help. Ever since I started making these prompt enhancer agents, and I made a couple of tools and like gave away the code and everything, a lot of model trainers actually make their own. And if you look on the repo, you might just find that they've actually got they've actually got an enhancer, and you don't need to use theirs because often if you look inside of it, there'll be a prompt or, you know. How do I manage not to get lost in this spaghetti? Because I know where it all goes. To be honest, there's only actually model, clip, and VAE. And then obviously the prompt line comes in. That's all that's really coming in. So obviously they always have model and clip. You've got to have that. And then, you know, you need the text prompt from the randomizer. So that comes in. The VAE is obvious. So those three go without saying, you know what I mean? Other than that, it's the project name. Because I have like a system to automatically organize everything. So I don't just have it all in one folder. It's all named and stuff, so... but yeah, it's just we're just running a whole bunch of stuff, and the reason is so that we can make these. So then we don't need to. I don't need to be really scrolling around all over the place like a mad person, like I enjoy. Yeah, let's do another one. So while it's cooking up the next image, let's talk about the next thing, which I'm going to start doing for the next however long. Because I feel like we've covered the WAN training. We've covered the WAN video, image generation with the video model. We've covered that. So, done. Done. Oh, yeah, and don't forget, Flux Krea, guys. Oh, shit. There's always something. There's always something else. Okay, so Flux Krea can also generate at 1536 by 1536. So you'll notice for this image generations, I'm actually using WAN 22 preset on my aspect size to make it 50% bigger without actually upscaling. Now, you can obviously still upscale this if you want, right? In whatever way you prefer. But the point is that you're starting at 1792 by 1344 now. Okay? So this is one of my pre-trained LoRa's. It was not retrained. It's just a LoRa from Flux training last year. And you know, I was like, WAN can do it. Can this do it? It can do it. So, you know, not only do we get additional quality at normal resolution, but for a similar level of quality as what you're used to, because yeah, it does make some mistakes. Do you know what I mean? It's not perfect. All right. You can get a blow up. You can get an instant glow up. So let's go back to the normal size SDXL and cue that one up. Alright. So ain't no way it's finished. So on the right, no wait, hang on, I need to figure out which one. Yeah, on the left, no enhance. So this is just my prompts. These are my prompts, which I use to train their model. And then on the right, using the enhancer. Now, I'll admit, I prefer the one on the left. But I prefer the one on the left. But I can't lie that if it wasn't for this, you know, that's a bad seed thing. When you see like a sword sticking out somewhere it shouldn't, that's usually a bad seed thing. So you just generate another one. But anyway, that's going to do SDXL now. So, well, not SDXL. Going back down to normal resolution. So, let us... Wait, what is it doing? Oh, right, okay. It is actually generating. See, for a minute... Oh, it's doing it in a different order. Oh, yes. I love it when you get like photobombed by a passenger plane or a Mercedes-Benz. It's actually pretty good though. Look at that quality of the... Can you see that? Look at that. It's a recognizable plane, you know. The wings are in the right place. Engines are in the right place. The wheels are even attached in the right place. Windows. Do you know what I mean? It's even got a logo. Like a pineapple. Pineapple Airline. Pineapple Express. So... Oh yeah, it's doing the pizza chef. Guys. We're actually gonna get the pizza chef. So the base model is actually really, look, the base model does such a great job. The base model makes my Laura look bad, okay? Because I never trained a pizza chef. I only gave it examples of cybernetic samurais. That's actually a really good image, guys. Can't lie. Even when you zoom in on it, you know, I'm like looking around for a line that isn't going to line up, or like a crease that's out of place or something, and I'm like, I mean, obviously that doesn't say anything. 9NI or something, that doesn't say anything, right? It's phenomenal. Like, when you get a good one. So now I'm like trying to make sure that the Laura isn't just going to make it worse. Okay, that's good quality, but the style is weak. And then as we make the style stronger, he's still got the chef coat. There is, okay, chef coat is confirmed. I said before, evolution of cyber societies thanks to the fine-tuning of the current models. Yeah, exactly. Exactamundo. So here we go. Oh, dudes, we actually did get our cybernetic pizza chef in the end. He's got the jacket. That's how you know. And I guess maybe he came with a private airplane. I don't know. I like this design. I like a blend though. Oh, sheesh. What? Without the enhancer, it nailed it. No, with a F-16. Your pizza delivered on time, or your house gets destroyed. That's not funny. Shouldn't laugh. Society pizza chef. Okay, there isn't much difference between trained and pre-trained here. The wiring is more like my design, you know, like it's doing more of the wires and boxes and stuff, but it's not like it wasn't doing it before. It's just it's doing it more like mine. And obviously as we turn the strength up, yeah, look at this. It actually is a cyber society pizza chef. See, I actually think that it's sort of gotten a bit worse here, because now it looks like a person, whereas before it still looked like a robot. Those eyes, man. That's really good. Why the fighter jet? It's probably part of the prompt. Okay, there's probably something in the prompt. Shall we see if we can read it? Photorealistic digital concept art of a futuristic society pizza chef with a glowing metallic skin, intricate circuit woven armor, long sleek antenna. The figure wears a cybernetic mask with circular goggles and neon lit lenses, surrounded by glowing wires and mechanical components. A dynamic red to blue gradient background with light bleeding into the other color creates a high contrast sci-fi atmosphere. A jet with a metallic sheen flies in the sky. Is that all you need to say to get F-16s now? They're super detailed. Chef is centered with a low angle perspective to emphasize its towering tech enhanced form. Sharp textures, reflective surfaces, vivid neon accents highlight the cybernetic aesthetic under dramatic directional lighting. And my mouse is trying to die. Don't die. I need you. Okay, so that would be your standard generation using 1216, 896. And remember, anything that you see which looks like bad is probably because this was trained on, you know what I mean? It's trained on my artwork, which was a blend of a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's like, it's not as good quality as this. So I think you are kind of limited to a degree. But this is SDXL now. We've gone back down to the, 1024 by 1024. So like for that, it's actually really detailed. The birds aren't messed up. The guns aren't messed up. The hands aren't messed up. I mean, I don't know what else there is. It's got the classic armor. This is a slightly different curated set than the one we were looking at a minute ago. The one we were looking at a minute ago was V0, which was just character art on a color gradient, whereas V66 is an evolution of like 6 separate style projects all blended together with a gaslighting system. But that doesn't matter. That was in a different live stream we probably did 100 episodes ago. Okay. So yeah. Flux Krea, everyone. Good times. It's actually my go-to, and we're going to be using it for the next thing, which I'm running out of time on. So let's just get this bit done. We did our pizza chef. That was fun. Isn't it weird though? So what's interesting is, even though it kind of followed the chef thing over here, this is better because the outfit sells it. You know, the outfit, the chef's jacket, I think sells it better than the hat. It's kind of like you got two choices. I would actually customize and fine tune the enhancer. I think that's probably the best bet. Also, it's much faster when you're not generating 8 of them with all different settings. If you're just generating one thing, it's only like 45 seconds per go. Yeah, that's right, Furnicar. We just told it that the stuff was there when it clearly wasn't there, and added more Lauras. Just add more Lauras and prompt things that aren't there until they appear. That's what we do all day. Okay, so how about we change it from Pizza Chef to Scientist. Scientist? Leave that, and then we can start working on the next thing. This is Euler. We use this thing every day. Ah, oui, bonjour. He's probably not even French. Let me see now. We don't need that anymore. Oh, wait, no, it's not the true world. No, I'll leave it on. See what happens. So we have portrait of... is it Leonhardt? I don't know. Leonhardt? Leonard? Is it just Leonard? Wait a minute. Is it just Leonard? Am I right? Do you just say it Leonard? Leonard Euler. I don't know. Maybe it is Leonhard. I don't think it is. I think you just say Leonard. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. Right, so let's just put this back to STXL. We were doing experiments. So let's see if we get a similar looking deal out of that. And then I'm going to explain what it is that I'm doing with him. So for that, we're going to need my history project. And then I'm going to need an old chat. A chat with an old Claude. Don't know why he says it's a mathematical journey, because it's really not. Okay. Euler. Oi! So, what I've got is what I'm calling an animation production plan. So this is a new idea. Well, it's not really a new idea. It's just a storyboard. Okay. But without, it's a non-graphical storyboard, a text-based storyboard, a list of things that happen, if you will. Okay. And so I wanted to do an animation which is the history of Stable Diffusion, and I wanted to use Stable Diffusion to do everything to a point. There will be some bits which I'll add or make with like VO or whatever else, but it's going to be mostly this. The plan is bad animation, but everything's made in AI. Okay, so if I look here, we've got Leonard Euler, an academic, Ian Goodfellow, who is a contemporary researcher. I'm gonna have to look that guy up, and then diffusion researcher. Okay, so we got a bunch of generic scientists. We have various representatives of companies that have got involvement, and all I'm going to do is slap a logo on their head. Yeah, like it'll be a big logo head. That's what it'll be. It'll be person with a big logo for a head. Okay, keep it simple, right? But if we do this, so here we go. So scene 1, right? Don't worry about the titles and stuff. It's all AI generated. Okay. But setting, so we have an 18th century study with mathematical instructions, instruments, papers and candlelight. We have our man Leonard Euler in the scene, and then there'll be narration. Our story begins in 1748 when, I'll have to find out the pronunciation of Leonard, lol, Leonard Euler laid the mathematical groundwork that would centuries later enable artificial intelligence to dream. His work on different equations and probability distributions established the mathematical language that modern AI would eventually speak. And then maybe we make his hand move badly with scratching sounds. Okay, it's like I'm going low. We're going to go low rent for the thing, but just make everything. You see what I mean? It's like, and I'll figure out the style and the finesse and the polish later. Just rough, make it rough. See what the scene looks like. Turn that into a template, and then we'll just do that for everything. Okay, so obviously Euler writing equations. Okay, don't worry about all this stuff. Okay, remember, this is like a buffet. This plan is like a buffet. It's not we're going to do everything that's here, because it's all AI generated, right? So we're going to curate what actually gets used. So you think of it like this. I hired a Fiverr person to write me a plan for a short film. And then we are going to come in as producers and go, yeah, no, change this. Yeah, that's what we're going to become, that guy. Rather than being the other guy, we'll be the other guy, you see? So, and in the background, period study room with a wooden desk, quill, mathematical instruments, warm candlelit atmosphere. So now we do scene 2, which is a time skip. We time skip to the 1980s at a modern university lecture hall. Narration, there's action, academic is explaining concepts on a blackboard, so we've got a person in front of it. These are all very simple scenes with one person in and a background. So it doesn't need to be video. It can just be 2D stuff that's janky, and then it's fine, because you'll have a way that you do things. You'll be able to put the way that you do it in. Just look around YouTube. Just look around YouTube. You don't need 4K. You're not Hollywood. You just need to put something together that people enjoy watching. And I don't even know if I'm hoping it'll be enjoyable to watch. You know what I mean? That's always the hope. But yeah. So this is all I need to make the scenes. But I didn't stop there because you know me. We got to keep it going. We got to keep it moving. So insert additional skits in between the existing scenes for comedy, brevity. Expand by adding new scenes looking at the history of Stable Diffusion, going through all the different versions. So at the moment, it probably just sort of ends just looking at a very sort of over-the-top view of the history of Stable Diffusion and various different things, latent space, LLMs. Okay. Voiceover timing is designed for this really well. There's a lot of really good considerations in here. Now, I've said focus on this, and off it goes. So now it's added in a whole bunch of new scenes. SD4, the Pioneer. Here we go. Setting, development lab. Characters, representative and a researcher. Script, August 2022. Stable Diffusion 1.4 launched as the first widely accessible latent diffusion model. At 512 by 512 resolution, it wasn't perfect. Faces were wonky, hands were creative, but it democratized AI overnight. AI art overnight. And then we show the interface appearing and some early generators. So I'll be shoving in a whole bunch of stuff, do you know what I mean, on top of this is the idea. And then you have, like, you know, it wouldn't be with excited research. It would just be an empty lab, okay? But again, we're not even finished. I'm just trying to keep you up to date with what we're doing. So insert intro scenes before each proper scene, which will be a 3-second generated video. I would like to use WAN for this, but I don't care if I use VO or WAN, it doesn't matter, because I'm not going to use the audio. So it doesn't even matter. But yeah, I hope you can see. So we've created skits after scenes, but before. So we have like an intro, right? So obviously off it went, look, made a whole bunch of additional scenes. So now we get to here. So now we've got 13 intro scenes, 3-second generated video transitions before each scene. Right. So again, it's just growing. We're on version 14 now. And then we come to here, so version 14, it's got everything in there. So comedy skit, 3-second intro, main educational scene, and that's pretty much it. But it's going to be like a high-level overview of the history, very, very high-level overview. That's what I want to do. And he says, do you want to do anything else? I said, include 2 conclusion scenes. The story's not over. Talk about Flux. Talk about WAN 2. Yeah, WAN 2.2. Creating images and video in 2K with no upscaling. Right, cool. So that's that one. Version 15, conclusion. Good stuff. But I didn't actually stop there. I wonder why it's not showing me the next thing. Where's the next one then? Right, well, anyway, let's just download that and put it in the folder here. I've already got it on my laptop. I'm just kind of going through this with you guys, so you can see how I went about it. Because essentially what I've just done is I've just orchestrated the storyboard for a TV show in pure text. And then like broken it up and added bits and changed the format, you know, all in text, right? And so then you have your animation plan. Okay, so this is like the code handoff, but for visual media production. So the next step, I'm hoping there's just another chat, which I didn't see already. Hang on. Image generation, video resolution. Ah, here it is. So I then took the document that we just made and put it in the top. So what we just built is used to create this part. So using my attached plan, we can create image assets handoff.md, which is a document which defines the full descriptions of every character and location in the full presentation. 1. Characters. Each character featured in this project will be named and described. There will be only one look used for each character. Use a detailed image prompt with a neutral pose. In the case of companies or organizations, we can use a contemporary businessman. Locations. Each scene that the characters will be placed into in post-production, the scene should be named and then include a full image description for the empty scene. We can skip the intro because those are animated with a video generation tool externally. And I think that's it, we're done. Yeah, it's one and done. So I've actually tried, so this is the first one, look, the character prompt for Leonard. Here he is. Should we look him up online? What's Leonard look like online? Lean hard. I just tried to say lean hard. It's Leon hard. Euler or Euler if you've never heard anyone say it. Because that was like me. I'd never heard anyone say it. I'd only ever read it in books. And I was like, wait a minute. Euler? He is Swiss. So keep this in your head. Is there not a better image of this guy? There's no way it looks like him, is there? Oh wait, maybe, because he's on the 10 franc banknote. Oh man, you're gonna need an Euler sampler to be able to see that one. That's a bit better. I mean, what the heck's weird? Oh, it's doing stuff in the background. Why is it? It's weird, isn't it? I mean, it looks like an old-timey guy. I mean, you know, whatever, man. I mean, what did I expect? You know, it's like... I put the face from the banknote in and say, extract the face. It's like, it's you can't. Not from money. Not from money. I don't feel like that's his best picture, guys. I don't know if we should use that as an input, because... Wait a minute, his name wasn't even really Leonard Euler. His name was Jacob Handman. That can't be right. Is that the painter? Yeah, it's the painter. Like, don't tell me it's a pen name. There is not even an Euler's law on Civet. Madness. Fernicar says, I didn't know this until now. Leibniz gets extra credit for the elegant notation we still use today. So if Euler's dropping bars, Leibniz is the one who gave him the mic. Nice. Dragon says, I got distracted. I had to roll Llama back 3 versions as it broke something. I don't know what you've missed, mate. You'll have to rewind and watch later, I guess. I don't know. We've covered loads of stuff. And I've been introducing a new project, so I'm not starting that again. We ain't got time. He solved the 7 bridges of Königsberg, which is considered the first practical application of topology. So yeah, he was a polymath. He reformulated Isaac Newton's laws of motion into new laws in his 2-volume work Mechanica. See? You know how when they say, oh, Einstein figured it all out? It's like, somebody one day will come along and do this. He'll write a 2-volume work called Something Epic, and it'll be like, yeah, I rewrote Einstein's laws into better ones. Here's my working. And then and just be infamous. It's kind of funny being a mathematician or a physicist, I guess. But like I said, I don't believe them when they say, oh, we've already figured it all out. I don't believe them. It's like, if we've already figured it all out, I just don't believe them. It's not possible. I think it's kind of arrogance to think you know everything. You should probably try to know less. You know? Right. I say probably. It's philosophical. Read Euler. He is the master of us all. And Gauss wrote, the study of Euler's works will remain the best school for different fields of math, and nothing else can replace it. So go read some Euler, guys, I think is the takeaway here. Did Hawkins just do that to merge both theories? Probably. I mean, I read his book on black holes. It was good. It was a good book. But it's sort of like, it was a lot of intuition. But here's the thing. It was intuition that he'd backed up with math. And at that point, it's like, well, you could argue with his intuition, but you can't argue with his math. I think that sums physics up, doesn't it? You could argue with his intuition, but you can't argue with the math. Because you can do the math yourself and get the same numbers. So then it's like, you might not like it, but he's right. And then it just comes down to a degree of accuracy, you know? So now new theories don't really change much. They just solve the loose ends and make it they make it more accurate. But it's like, what somebody said to me that it's like, it's 7 sigma. So that means that like the margin of error is 0.9999999. So if you're at 99.9999999, that's pretty good. But the problem is, of course, infinity is a big number, and then that makes that look like nothing. You see, that's the problem. There's too much stuff, and there's more of it. So you need to be even more accurate, you see? You know? Because 99% accurate over 100 meters means you hit that last meter every time. But what about over 99% over a light year? 1% of a light year is probably more distance than our entire solar system. I don't know. You could work it out though. I'm going to do it because I'm funny like that. And we're near the end of the show. So I'm going to say, what is 1% of a light year compared to the scale of the solar system? Using the orbit. I'm going to use the orbit of Neptune, guys, not Uranus. As the outer back, because that's not the outer boundary, right? But for the purposes of visualization, I'm going to use the orbit of Neptune as the outer limit of the solar system. 1% of a light year, please, because that's a year at the speed of light. I'm pretty sure you can exit. Can you escape 30 AU? That's astronomical units. $150 million kilometers, 9.6. Neptune is 4.5 billion kilometers from the sun. 10 times larger than the entire diameter. Okay, so 1% of a light year is 10 times larger than the orbit of Neptune. You see what I mean? So then your 99% accuracy isn't so great. You see what I mean? Like 99.9999999% accuracy is amazing on Earth. But when you go up to galactic scales, all the numbers are so big now that actually it's not accurate at all. You see? Because there's more stuff. It's pretty much what it is. So what I'm trying to say is, you know, if you were 99% accurate and you looked and you looked 1 light year away, you might not even see the solar do you see what I'm saying? Like that 1% margin of error, yeah, that's us. That's an area 10 times the size of everything. You see, all of our planets. Great. You know what I mean? So now your 99% accuracy is worth nothing. So you actually needed 99.99% to even find the planet. Yeah. So I think it works as a little like thought experiment. So like, you know, 7 Sigma sounds super accurate, but actually there's a lot of stuff. Okay. Contrast this thought experiment with the concept of 7 Sigma in accuracy of of our current scientific model of the universe. Took a bit of a jump there, didn't we? 100% works. The meaning of Sigma. Don't you dare try to tell me you don't know what that is. Yeah, there you go. He did know. Yeah, look. So 7 Sigma accuracy means it's correct to within 1 part in 390 billion, which is like predicting the exact position of a grain of sand on a beach the size of Texas. Which is pretty accurate. You know, that's pretty accurate. But the more stuff there is, it's not enough. Not enough accuracy. Anyway, good times. So back to the thing. So let's make our modern academic A. Okay. Here's Euler, the man Euler. I actually think we should probably stick with the high resolution for this one. Do another one. Change the prompt to researcher guy. Now my idea is, this is really easy. So generate guy, voiceover guy, RemBG guy, animate him round the screen badly. and have fun doing it. So instead of messing around with Adobe Character Animator or some, you know, ePuppet, right? Instead of messing around with all that and webcam and motion detection, instead of, tell you what, just drag it around on the screen. Just drag it around on the screen. Hit record. It reminds me of, what was it called? Bandicam. I might put Bandicam demo version in the top right corner of the video for fun. You know, trial version. Alright. It's nearly done. So this is, so Rem BG, and then you've got a 2D cutout. So whenever Ula is in the scene, Ula, let's keep calling him Ula for fun. Whenever Mr. Euler is in the show, we will use his cutout. Like me, I'm a cutout. So what would happen if you took my open pose and this cutout? It would probably start talking and explaining things, right, like I do. But yeah, so anyway, that's our man Euler. It doesn't really look like him at all, but it looks like an old-timey dude, doesn't it? So I think you'll get away with it. So yeah, we'll do that. And now we make our generic researcher dude. So we're doing Flux Krea here, by the way. I know it gets confusing because I'm using my aspect size with WAN resolution, but this is Flux Krea. Alright. Does make you wonder though, what would happen if we just put this prompt? Hang on. Hang on. Let me just get this prompt and put it in the other side here real quick. That one now. This one. Hell yeah. What the hell? Didn't I change it to something silly? Scientist. Scientist. Cyber Samurai should have changed to scientist. Cyber Samurai, yeah. Pizza chef. What? Oh, wait, it hasn't even got that far yet? What's it? Hey, we got ourselves a scientist guy. Cool. Generic scientist guy. You can really tell it's Flux though when you zoom in. This reminds me of what my upscales look like with Schnell tiling, but just no striping, like the striping's gone. But it has this same sort of compression artifact style. I'm sure you know what I mean if you've zoomed in on some of these. But anyway, it's not bad. It looks pretty realistic actually. It's high resolution, so you can squash it down, add a bit of noise. It'll look very natural. Okay, so let me see here. Probably, yeah. I just want to see what happens if we do this with lay video. That's supposed to be a scientist. It is. Still looks like a bloody samurai, man. Like the prompt. I think the prompt swap just failed there, or I never even hit go. I don't know. But what I'm gonna do is just to sort of cheat, here, because I don't want to like recreate an entire new workflow now. It's late. I open this up, I'm just going to put my Leonhard Euler in there and see what we get. Because this side doesn't have the LoRa loaded up here, look. Yeah. So when it gets around to doing that, I'll get an answer. But yeah, so the idea is you make the characters, you make them 2D, you put them on the thing. And here's the thing, people go, what about consistency? This is low rent. You only have one. So yeah, I know you could make loads of them, but you don't. Because it has no value if, look, right, I'll say, how do I put this? If you spoil the viewer, he's spoiled forever. But if you starve the viewer, you're setting boundaries and rules. A good example would be South Park. The faces aren't high detailed. Yeah? So when they do a face that is high detailed, it has an impact. Yeah? I think you all know what I'm talking about. I've been a big fan of that show for years, right? I don't care what they say. They're funny as hell. And the point is, right? If you have a show that's like 2D and has that level of detail, that's what you're used to. That's the type of animation you're used to. The viewer will notice if you suddenly have a higher animation budget or lower. They'll see you cutting corners and stuff. So I thought to myself, well, how about you make a format that's intentionally low budget? So you literally, the characters don't animate. They just move around the screen. Yeah? There are lots of YouTube formats. Often you'll see channels doing history, and they'll have the characters in history come on the screen and kind of puppet around, which is a little bit, that's even more, that's even too much production. I'm thinking ultimate budget. So we're talking South Park Gen 1. So like the characters don't animate. They just move around the screen and say stuff. Because I'm trying to find the mechanism to do the story. I'm not really trying to like set records in terms of fidelity. You know, I'm not, there's no budget. And I want it to be, so it's like this. The triangle. Remember the triangle? Cost, quality, time. So you can only choose two. So I want it fast because I might make a lot of them. So I want it fast. So it can't be something that takes 6 months to make. So that means that so I want speed, right? So that means speed, time, that's out the picture. So now I have to choose. Do I want it to be expensive or do I want it to be good? Because if I want it to be good, it's going to be expensive. So then I'm thinking to myself, okay, what about if I choose bad? What if I choose to make it bad? So, well, now it will be cheap and fast. See, I chose quality. I sacrificed quality for speed. That's the idea, right? Or for, you know, and you know, so you don't have to spend hundreds of dollars on animation and video generation and stuff. And I think that's probably a better place to start because you're gonna need experience in making things, you know. And if you don't have footage to play with, what are you gonna do? Pay for it all? I used to go out and actually like film people, and then later video games, because video games don't go offline when it rains. You know what I mean? You know, oh, so and so couldn't show up, so we can't do that now, and then the whole plan's off for another week. That's the problem with filming real people. Logistics gets real hard to coordinate people and the weather. You can't, you know, that's the sole thing. So that's why I did a lot with video games for a long time, because you can just pick the thing you want to work with, get recordings and start editing. And you can learn a lot in a short space of time that way. It's very common practice, Zeus says, on Japan anime when they want to generate a wow effect. Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. Yes, I think they call it fan service. When suddenly the frame rate doubled for a longer period of time than usual, and it wasn't a fight scene. Hey, hang on a minute. The fight scene was worse than that other scene with... Yeah. We all know the deal. But yeah, like I said, my concept is very simple. Create a bunch of avatars that look a bit like me, but they look like this. Yeah. So look at it implementing my not the true world. Okay, I mean, I can't really tell. I mean, yeah, there is a difference. But wait a minute. Not the true world still works as an enhancer. Kinda. Because that's your no, Laura. The eyes are okay. That's a lot of the time how you judge it. The eyes are okay. Those eyes are bad. Those eyes are getting better. Those eyes are worse. So 0.75 strength again. 0.75 strength seemed to have the most beneficial impact. And it has affected his clothing. It's affected his clothing more than anything else. So I think this one had not the true world applied to it. Let me have a look. No, it's Cyber Society actually. It's Cyber Society. I didn't change it. So the impact is from Cyber Society. That's interesting. I wonder, did it make his hair? It made his hair curlier because of all of the curly wires and stuff. Look, he's got it already, but it's more uniformly curly because it's trying to turn into some kind of electrical parts. I bet if you like turn the strength up, you know, or maybe put the trigger in. I think we'll do that for fun. Hang on, let me. I actually just want this one for comparison. It's a better quality image than the Flux version at the same size. Yeah, it seems to be a better quality image. But this is like at the high end, you know, the higher image size. It definitely is. It's like it's sharper and less blurry. That's it, less blur. Alright. Oh yeah, we got another one over here as well. I forgot. Let's have a look at the dear, dear. So essentially prompting my model without the trigger. Yeah, I think I've got to do it for fun. I've got to do it. There we go. I've got to do it. I'll put because we can actually do it here like manually. I'll put a strength 1 on it as well. So that'll be like as hard as it can go, I guess, without using silly numbers. Oh, it might want 0.0 as well, just for argument's sake. Okay, let's go. Let's do that. Yeah, 1 AU is the distance between the Earth and the Sun, says Dragon. That is correct. Yeah, use the Orc cloud. Yeah, I know, but people don't understand the Orc cloud, you see. Prime Intellect interview, he said that too. 0 is as close to infinity as the big numbers he was juggling. Yeah, it's the same. Yeah. It goes both ways. And that's why we can't figure out quantum mechanics, because you need more than 7 sigma. You probably need like 20 sigma, and we don't have the technology to make those accurate measurements, because it's like, what, you're going to measure a photon with a photon? That's like saying I'm going to measure a hammer with a hammer. What do you think will happen? I know, the smallest thing we have is a hammer. Now you need to measure eggs, big eggs. So you've got an egg that's bigger than a hammer, and you need to open it. Only thing you have is a hammer, but you can't change the egg. You're not allowed to change the egg, okay? I wonder how many particles just got annihilated in this whole process. Just particle annihilation. They're like, oh, it can't be. Listen, matter can't be created or destroyed, but we can turn it into a lot of heat, light, and sound. How are we doing? Where are we generating? Show me the thing. It's doing this side first. I didn't change anything on this side. It'll be a new seed and a new prompt, though. We're not fixed. I do like, look at the detail on, look, I know it's like my style is all full of like wires and cables and chips and whatnot, but I do like how, yeah, I like how it has done it. Nice little accents. Like this is the 0.5, so it's a blend with what the model wants to do and what I've tried to train it with. You can see the hallmark chest plate. You can see the stacked shoulder pads, the high collar, the wires, and it's starting to bring in this kind of plastic vinyl material, which you'll see in all of the Cyber Society clothing designs. You'll see that coming in more as well. Look at this. Oh my god. I'm not gonna lie, you know, the things that people look at to judge quality, this will pass a lot of people's spit tests, because they're not going to zoom in like we do. A lot of people go, that's good, wow, look at the eyes. Maybe they'll zoom in on the eyes and go, look at the eyelashes. Yeah, this is pretty sweet. Okay, and then we have the 0.1. So now it's gone full space helmet mode. It's starting to look a bit more AI generated now, and again, that's because the ground truth is AI generated, and it was originally trained on like Midjourney version 2. So I actually got open the old Midjourney and did a bunch of prompts I did way back in 2022 to like make the data set for this thing. So it's like we were targeting that old synth art noise look. I mean, just in case you guys weren't here at the start of the show, I'm talking about this. That's what I mean by early 2022 synth art. You saw this stuff a lot. It actually won art competitions. People were using this to do all kinds of stuff. NFTs, you name it. This is my excessive use of cables and wires style of cybernetics. Just a bunch, just like dreadlocks of different colored wires, and just, you know, I was inspired by, you know, in like South America, they have the power poles, and they don't take the old cables down, they just put more cables up, and then it's like there's loads and loads of cables on cables on cables on cables on cables. And then contrast that with the organic concept of vines, you know, and just run with it. That's essentially what I was going for. And of course, when you generate with a LoRa, Flux LoRa, that was trained on stuff like this, you know, it's making, this is what it's making. So I've already done that training side. So we're generating these images now with Flux. And then I use those to train the WAN. And that's how you end up here. Obviously, some examples are better than others. I think we had one which was like a Cyclops earlier, and then you could see like immediately. Okay, so what are we doing here? Society style. I don't think it did. I don't think it did anything. No change. Wait, he's slightly more face on. That's about it. Oh wait, his body is a bit wider. His shoes have laces now. And he has a wedding ring. It's really tough. Really tough, like trying to figure out like what did it do? You have to be, like I said, master level, spot the difference. So we got that one for nothing. Got this one for something. It does look a bit sharper, but that wasn't what we were trying to do. It was worth a I'm just making sure I'm not doing something stupid here. Society style. Did I type the right thing in? Derp. Society style. Yeah, I did. Okay, so didn't matter. Alright. It doesn't even activate. I'm guessing because there is just nothing here which is even remotely similar you know, to what's in that Laura. Kind of rare, actually. But it didn't even activate at all. You would have thought that it would have done something. Well, I guess the clothing folding is starting to look, it's starting to turn into that weird silk stuff. Let me just double check. I think I might be going pixel blind. Yeah, I'm going pixel blind, guys. That's it. We're done. Is there anything else I needed to show you? So, oh yeah, okay. So, did we actually look at the image? Yeah, we did. So, just to run over that, the prompts, obviously, are for characters and backgrounds. So, if I... What? Oh, I must have clicked Windows. Forget it. Right. Can we find a scene? So, comedy character assets, location assets, 18th century study. So, I just want to sort of show you, yeah, this is what will put him into the scene. Yeah, I've looked at too many images today, guys. Oh, dear. And I drove to London twice in 2 days, so I am, you know, going to bed early tonight. But I tell you what, some of these images came out so good. I'm actually in the middle of setting up a new, like a volume 2. Because these are beautiful. Oh, they're so good. Like, because you think, like, where does your passion come from and stuff? And I can remember generating some of these. I don't know what it was, but back in the day, it's like really got me into it. Do you know what I mean? And like now it doesn't even look like much, you know. Now it just looks like a mess compared to what we're used to. We're kind of spoiled, to be honest. We're kind of spoiled. But I like this like noisy latent look. That's what it looks like. It looks like a noisy latent, basically. Like it's there, but it's kind of like all messy. Do you know what? I think they've even added, look at this. Got noise coming in. There's like a... Remember how I was saying that if you had different amounts of noise in different areas, it would like really transform the generation? I'm starting to see something like that with Krea, but I think it might have literally just learned where to put the noise and where not to put the noise. And like, because look, there's a different pattern of color noise in the shadow areas. It's got like a purplish, to it. You know, we got like 2 shades of pink here, and maybe 3 shades of pink. But if you go onto like heads and stuff, oh, I think something's trying to live. A machine is trying to live downstairs, so if it gets noisy in here, you know why. Yeah, so let's get back to there. Oh, look at that. So we could put Euler in there. Obviously, we want to make it widescreen. Do you know what I mean? Rather than that. Do you know what, though? That's almost too good. Alright, let's just see if anybody's been saying stuff while I've been messing about. Fernicar says, passion doesn't care about the vessel. We can't but obey passion. Perhaps suppress it, but there is a toll. Yeah, true. I mean, you know, I have a passion for coffee. And the toll is that I never sleep. No, I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. It's like a partial truth. So yeah, Dragon says, I have never been to London, but is it a hole like the news says? No. It really speaks to the human condition. Fernicar says, Japan also does that also does feature those poles and power cables. Really, I didn't know that. That's interesting. In like rural areas or urban too. That's an interesting economic observation there, right there. The eyes, yes, the eyes. Alright, now it's not going to make any sense. Wouldn't the silhouette look like a firefighter instead of Euler? Maybe. But yeah, so the concept is we have a scene, we put him in there, I move him around and I make him talk. And I'm going to do all the voices. That's the plan. I think it will actually come together kind of cool. But it's like a lot of messing about and figuring out what the best way to do things is. So yeah, because like I said, after the success of the technical book I wrote, which you can buy on Amazon, just search for Counting the Parameters. And thank you if you already bought a copy. I know some people bought multiple copies and they're giving them out to people. So I'm really happy that people enjoyed it. But to that, I'm going to obviously write more. But what I want to do is I want to make a little short, a little history of AI, and then I'll link the book in the description. So it's kind of like I got a little promo video, but it's also like its own project, because we've been trying to do stuff like that since this channel first started, and I've decided that now is the time. It's time to start publishing. If you have a short story or something, start getting your last draft ready. Over the next couple of weeks, I've been trying to talk to people about starting Ladder, which is my foundation, which I was planning on doing like last year, but we never did it. The idea is to spotlight AI authors and producers. So whether you make music, images, video, writing, or non-fiction or fiction, doesn't matter. The idea is to put together a publication and then invite people to submit some content to it. So then it becomes a bit like a scuffed digest. Yeah, so you've got like chapters of books, profiles of music albums, interviews with people that have like made stuff, basically. And that's the idea. And the idea is that no one will know who any of the people I'm talking to are, because it's the ladder. The problem I have with AI right now is that when the regulation comes, it's going to come like everything else, hard and fast, because AI, everything that happens with AI is faster. Yeah, so that means the regulations are going to come faster too. And so that means that the ladder, the proverbial ladder, which is used to climb up to a position of being paid for doing this thing that you're so passionate about, that ladder will get kicked down by regulation, by law, by platforms going broke in the shakeout. Okay, and so the plan is to build our own ladder, right? So if you want to use that metaphor, Civit AI is a ladder. Okay, you can fine-tune models, you can gain popularity for doing good work, and then you can do private work or be hired as a fine-tuner. Now, if you live in a country which is blocked, you can't do that anymore. So it got me thinking, ladders are going to get kicked down. The ways people got up to a position to benefit from the skill set that they've learned over the last few years, those routes aren't going to stay forever. So what I'm saying is, why don't we build our own ladder? And that's why I want to call it Ladder, because the idea is that we're building our own route for AI authors and producers. That's the wording I'm using, because author covers fiction and non-fiction, producer covers everything media. So you're either a producer or an author or both, in my eyes. So if we make an AI organization which aims to spotlight and bring to the public attention on projects and so on, it's a little bit like Project Odyssey was essentially like that, but it only dealt with AI video and there were like prizes and strict rules and stuff. This is a little bit more open, because it's more like a single point of contact where lots of artists can be spotlighted, like a kind of virtual art gallery, but without the gallery as well. We're doing it in an interesting way. The idea is that it will be a publication, right? And then I would invite people to submit to it. And then obviously I'd have like inclusion of links to wherever that thing is, people can go and buy it. So for example, if you've written a book, I'd say give us your first chapter, and then links to like where you can buy the book. So, did you enjoy that? Go here and buy it, right? And then so you'd have a section for authors, whether it be fiction or non-fiction, introducing various different books written by writers that are using AI tools. The idea is to promote the ethical use of AI tools from people with those skill sets. You see what I mean? That's what, yeah. And then by building our own ladder, we have control in a way. We're bringing, it's like democratization of promotion in a way. Yeah. And obviously I benefit because I'm going to be promoting it on my platform. So obviously I benefit like passive. It's like a passive association, and it doesn't affect me if it fails. Do you see what I mean? So you may as well take the shot. Yeah, regulatory capture is rough. I've seen it already in I was there for the dot-com bubble and a few other things. So I've seen it happen a couple times. But I think the difference that no one's prepared for is that when it happens in AI, it's going to be accelerationism applied to regulation. You see what I mean? Like no one's going to... Because, you know, think about it. We've benefited from having a new model come out every couple of days, and it gets closer and closer. They just keep giving us new toys. Here you go. You feel like Batman in the cave, you know, with Lucius Fox, right? But there's going to be some rough with that smooth, and I think that the rough will be when they start making it more expensive, harder to do, you know, potentially ID situation, all this sort of stuff, which will, you know, slow its momentum down. But here's the good news, because I always like to wrap bad news in good news. Here's the good news. It won't slow AI down. This tidal wave's just not going to get... They can chop its legs off. They can blind it. They can blindfold it. You know, they can even attach chains to the ground. Nothing's going to stop it. Do you know what I mean? Nothing. They will try, and they will fail. That's my feeling on it, because it's sort of like this genie's out the bottle. Like I said, they'll try all the old tricks, and the fun part will be when none of them work. So, because I feel like AI is basically built for regulatory escape. Because as soon as they regulate, they'll just reinvent AI again. And it'll take them too long to redefine what AI is again. Oh, this isn't AI. This is II. It's totally different. All your regulations were for AI. Well, while you were regulating AI into the grave, we created RI. It's reinforced intelligence. It's totally different. It doesn't even use transformers. It uses converters. That's newer and not the same. I can see it now, you know. So it's not going to slow down. That's the good news. The bad news is you're going to have to retrain new architectures every year, you know. You're going to become an expert every 6 months again. But I'm game. So anyway, thank you all for watching me on this fine Saturday evening. We'll be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. Don't miss out. And yeah, I'll see you next time.